Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us to the channel here with all of the awesome and amazing real estate agents that we've talked to from literally all over the country. Today, I'm super excited to bring you Eric, who is in the Western. I was thinking East, more Western North Carolina there. And if you're thinking about making a move to that area, I highly recommend you stick around. But also, if this is your first time to the channel, you got to hit that subscribe button. You got to tap the little bell notifications. We're interviewing agents from literally all over the country, and actually Canada, and now Mexico and Central America and everywhere. So anyway, I'm really excited to bring you him today. Really unique experience here, and we're going to dig into the details of that a little bit more. But I think what's really cool is how, and we've talked about this in other episodes, everyone's a realtor and something else. And Eric has a really cool connection point to that world. And so I'm really excited about today's episode and hope you find it valuable as well. But let's get into it. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time for this. Really do appreciate it. I know you're super busy as well between the two lives that you lead here. So for everyone joining us, tell us who you are, where you are, what you do, and most importantly, I think, is how we got connected, of course, but also what makes you different and why someone should choose you over the hundreds of other agents in your area.
I know, right? You can't throw a rock around here without hitting somebody that's a real estate license. So yeah, you got to stand up. Hey, my name's Eric Reeves. I met Matt through Clubhouse, as I'm sure you've heard. Most of the people on the show probably have some connection to Clubhouse. Right. I haven't been as frequently as I was before when we first, started on it. But I am a real estate broker in North Carolina. As Matt said, I live in the western corner of North Carolina, which would be east for him. But it's up in the top northwest corner. So like we're right beside Tennessee and Virginia. So it's about equal distance to both. And I also own, and I started because of the market here, a interior consulting firm, and I started it doing home staging for vacant homes because we are a large second home market here. And so just from my work as real estate was showing homes, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a need here. Nobody was doing it. We don't have furniture rental stores here. So I had to buy my own furniture, everything, A to Z here. So it's been an interesting journey. And that part of the business is 5 years old now. And I've been licensed in real estate for 17 years, just over 17 years. So yeah, I've seen it. And then my mom was a broker. So I've been around this for a while.
I love that. Well, and I love the unique experience there too, and the unique knowledge, wisdom that you bring to this business as well, because a lot of people can't see the forest through the trees sometimes, especially in a vacant home. I know that's one of the biggest challenges I hear with, buyers that are walking into a vacant home. It's like, what is this room supposed to be?
Exactly.
And you see the chandelier, you're like, this is the dining room. Like, but we're in it every day, right? And we know what to be looking for. But especially, and I'd love to get your input on this, especially over the, probably like the last 20 years, at least here in Atlanta, we've seen a lot more builders building open floor plan and, opening walls up, tearing down walls. And certainly now with renovations as well, that's like the common theme with most new renovations. So talk to us a little bit about, when you walk into a vacant home, because you, again, have a very unique perspective. You're an agent, but you're also a designer. So you think very differently than even I do when I walk into a space. So talk to us a little bit about that. When you walk into a vacant home, how does your mind work? And give the people here, especially the consumers, but also the agents, a little bit better perspective on when you walk into a space, how do you think about it? How do you unpack a particular space and get people thinking about, what this home could look like?
Right. Well, a lot of time, every time I kind of play off the client. If I can see that blank stare in their eye, then I start giving them ideas about, well, you could do this, you could do that. Or if they start saying, I like it, but I wish, then I'm able to throw in some suggestions. But if they walk in and go, oh my God, this is perfect, I'm on board. So it is a great merge of the two businesses. And like I said, that's why I started the other business, because so many people walk into a space and do not see its potential. And as I said already, this is a second home market. I'm in the mountains. So a lot of our homes don't have necessarily a dedicated dining room. And not everyone who lives here is a second home, so
Mm.
they want that dining room, but just like if they were living in Charlotte or Raleigh or somewhere else. So finding the ability to create that if the home doesn't already have that, which appear a lot of them don't, because it's one big living area, which is so popular now, but they've been doing it here for years because it's the great room. It's the
Mm.
kitchen with the bar and then the fireplace and the window, so it's pretty, to me, in my brain, it's the cookie cutter formula,
Right.
but it's not a cookie cutter market. We don't have subdivisions where you drive in and you see 4 plans and it's every other, we don't have that here. Most of our homes are custom built.
Mm.
And so whenever we're in the resale market, I'm always telling people, don't over customize, because
Mhm.
just because you say this is going to be your forever home, things change.
Yeah.
And on average, people move 5 to 7 years, or will do a project every 5 to 7 years, or you should be doing some sort of upgrade to your house every 5 to 7 years. So there's just a lot that can change within that time period.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and especially where you started there with the rental and the short-term income and properties, as well as the second home, because do you know the percentage of second homeowner, like, because a lot of rentals up there, obviously a lot of snow skiing and
Hmm.
Asheville. I mean, there's a lot going on, a lot more, I
Yeah,
think, than people realize in Western Carolina. But
it
talk to
is.
us, talk to us a little bit about the dynamic there, because that's very unique. And we see this in a lot of the beach communities and stuff, right? Where certainly there's a population of people that live there full time, but the mass or the majority of people, make it a second home or an investment property that they can go to 1 to 10 times a year. So talk to us a little bit about that and the dynamic that adds, because I think that's a really interesting point. And in a major metro city like Atlanta, it's all pretty much primary, right?
Hmm.
Occasionally,
Hmm.
but the script is flipped there, I guess.
Right,
So
it
talk
is.
to us a little bit about that and the percentages and what that kind of looks like.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we do have the highest vertical drop of any ski resort on the East Coast over at Beach Mountain.
Mhm.
They're at 55, 60 um, feet above, whatever. And then so each community is has its own rules. Like the Blowing Rock, where my house is, no, there are no short-term rentals allowed under 28 days. Anything under 28 days is considered short-term rental. And the town itself has invested in software to catch people that are on Airbnb or whatever that are trying to, you know, do that. But the city limits are probably only like 2 miles wide. So the houses that live or that are placed just outside those homes or that area actually kind of sell better than the ones that are in town. And that's not always the case. Somebody's gonna be watching this and go, no, it's not. So it's just a lot of times, because I am right now selling a home there, and it's in the town limits, and it's a great home, great view. And one of the questions that always comes up is short-term rental. Like, no, you can't. Um, so a lot of the towns will have that, but if you live just outside, and for a community like Beach, that is a primary ski destination. They don't have there's not a gas station up there. There's not a grocery store. There's a general market called Fred's, and their logo is, "If we don't have it, you don't need it." I mean, in the winter, there's only like 450 permanent residents or something like that.
Wow.
But it's a great ski destination. So there, short-term rentals, it's a huge thing. So whenever people look at houses over there, and in their mind, they're thinking that, I mean, that's always one of the first questions I ask is, do you plan on renting? Because I've sold both ways. Some that
Mhm.
do not want to rent, they're just buying it for their family to come up. They have a great golf course over there. And so they want their kids to be able to grow up playing golf and such and such. And a lot of these houses get handed down from generation to generation. So the
Mhm.
grandparents bought it, and then the parents got it, and then now the kids are getting it, or the kids got it now, like, we don't really want to come up here anymore, and they're selling it. So it's a very interesting. because of each little community has its own little flavor, just like a neighborhood would, say in Atlanta. I know how I lived in Chicago, and each little neighborhood had its own street festival and had its own flair. And this area was the Swedish, immigrant people, and this area was the Polish, and this area. So it's kind of the same here, where you have a different flavor to each little community you go to,
Yeah.
which
So
makes it
talk
nice.
No, I agree. And that, to me, that's what adds to the cultural element of things, right? Because people literally come from all over the world to Atlanta, to Charlotte, to Chicago. And then after being here for some amount of time, it could be 4 years, it could be 40 years, they decide to retire, right? And then they move into these types of communities. And again, whether it's part-time or full-time, that's just super cool. So talk to us a little bit about the movement. Obviously, there's a ton of people moving over interstate lines right now, right? And making interstate moves from Georgia to North Carolina, from North Carolina to Georgia, from uh, all over out west to Florida and
Hmm.
Texas and everything.
Yeah.
So, we're following the stats, and we're hearing our friends in Clubhouse talk about, you know, I think I heard Levi say the other day, in Dallas or in Texas in general, 800 people a day. Here in Atlanta, it's like 200 a day. In Florida, I think it's like 1,200 a day. So in Tennessee and all over the Southeast. So talk to us a little bit about your experience and where people are coming from, why they're making that move. You mentioned a couple of the things, golf and skiing and stuff, certainly in the winter months, but just curious where people are coming from, and then what's also attracting them to that. Is it just the communities? Is it a lifestyle thing? Talk to us a little more about that.
The major feeder markets for our area here are Charlotte and Raleigh. But we get a ton of people from Atlanta. In fact, I had clients that were ready to put down money on the house I just mentioned earlier, coming from Atlanta, and they were getting close to retirement age, wanted to go ahead and find a place now so that they could start getting comfortable with it, so that when they did retire in a couple of years. So we do get retirees. We were ranked, Boone itself, which is where my office is, where I'm sitting right now, is a college town. So the transportation system here is free because it's subsidized by the university for the students. So they're trying to get less cars up here. So it's for retirees, you ride the bus for free. Cost of living is less than, say, it might be in a major metro area. And so that is one segment of our market. Then we also get the people moving for the university, because the university and the hospital are two largest employers here in the area, in Watauga County, which is the county where this is. And so we do get a lot of transplants coming from larger cities that just want that slower pace. And especially with COVID going on right now, it seems like every week there's a different variant coming out, and we think we're over, and then it comes back. So we've had a lot of people come in with the work from home now and the remote work. You don't need to go into your office. And in fact, a lot of companies have even shut down their offices, no plans of reopening, because they realize, hey, we can do this from our house or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been a big driver as well. People just like realizing that, hey, I don't need to live in the city. I don't need this traffic. I can live up in the hills. Those crazy people.
Well, I love that too, because we have heard a lot of this happening in these like secondary or tertiary markets where, they were known for retirement communities or folks, nearing retirement age. And you talk a lot about the beaches and the mountains, and there's really no in between there, right? But what I think is unique, and and I don't think a lot of people realize how much of a movement that was, because when a lot of these companies in March, April, May of last year were like, we're never going back into an office, people
Right.
suddenly could change their entire lifestyle around their business. And you and I in real estate, we can be wherever, whenever, outside of showing property, of course.
Hmm. Yeah.
So we have a lot of freedom, to be location driven, but at the same time, we have a lot of flexibility with that. And depending on how you run your business, that can help or hurt you, of course.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
talk to us a little bit about the numbers there. And I don't want to get super granular as far as, particular areas. I really want to just look at all of Western North Carolina. Talk to us, because I know I've just heard from, and again, from people in Florida, right? There are some areas and some markets that are up 15, 20, as high as 30% in value. So talk to us a little bit about what's happened there in the local market over the last 2 years.
We're seeing the same thing here. Our average price point has gone, I believe, 30%, where it's still an affordable market to live in, but it depends on what you want. I guess it's, I don't know really how to describe it other than, okay, so if you want that big open view and you want to live in Blowing Rock, you're going to look at 800 and above. Whereas if you are in, say, West Jefferson, you can get that same kind of feature for a lot less, maybe in the $500,000, $600,000 range, but you're not going to have the same amenities. So it's that give and take, just like you'd have anywhere else. But yeah, our prices are up, and the forecast is for it to stay the same, if not go even higher. Another 20% is what I saw just recently. But once again, we're running into the same problem everybody else is inventory. Inventory is our driver. If we don't have inventory, there's nothing we can do, which is why I have a second life with design, because those same people that are buying that house want to change something about that house, and then eventually they're going to want to sell that house. So it's like, it's like a life cycle. It really works, the two combined. If anyone out there is thinking about it, it's a great, feeder for each other.
And in addition, sellers that are thinking, we want to, maybe we're not selling in 2022, but we want to do some work to put us in a better position in 2023, 4 or 5. And so, I mean, I feel like that's a great opportunity, not just for you, but for your clients, because I mean, I just think that has a ton of value. So talk to us a little bit too about the demographics and how they've changed also over the last 2 years, because again, we talked about young professionals, being able to live wherever as long as they got Wi-Fi. So talk to us a little bit about the change you've seen there.
As far as changing demographics, I would say that the areas have primarily stayed kind of like they are, whereas Boone is going to be your younger, like 35, 40 and below kind of market, unless you are a professor and you need or want to live within a certain radius of the campus. That might be a difference. But each area, like Blowing Rock that I keep talking about, it is it's called the Crown of the Blue Ridge, which the Blue Ridge Parkway runs right through it. And it's the only place on the Blue Ridge Parkway that has full amenities such as hotels. We get like really high-end restaurants. And so over there we get art galleries, and it's a higher income, area over there. So to enter that market, it's a little bit different. But overall, I think our demographics are kind of following the trend as they are around the country. So once again, like I mentioned, is people moving out of the cities. So that same young person is going to want similar amenities that they had in, say, Charlotte. They want to be able to walk to a bar or walk to a restaurant. So they're going to stay in the Boonish area, which is what I mentioned is the younger demographic. So it's all driven by the desire to get out of those larger areas, but have similar amenities, at least for the people coming here, and it's a big life change for people, whenever we don't have a Target, so it's like, oh my gosh, you don't have a Target, but like, well, we have UPS, we've got FedEx, we've got people, they deliver. You just can't get, instant gratification. You just can't get that. But that gives you a reason to take a day trip and go down to Charlotte and come back. Because we're only about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from Charlotte. So that's a good day trip.
I love it. Well, in closing, and again, I really appreciate your time. So in closing, tell the people, if they're watching this right now and they're like, you know what, we've always kind of thought about moving up there. We love snow skiing in the winter. We can work from wherever we want. Or, we do want to be an hour from Charlotte, hour and a half from Charlotte, or we do want to be 3 to 4 hours from Atlanta. We still have family here, or fill in the blank, because you and I know, whether you're an agent watching this or even someone in my network or Eric's network, people that know other people. And to me, the value of these interviews is really not just the connection, because I feel like I know Eric, even though we've never physically met in person. I think that it's really important that I convey that, like, these are not just random agents that filled out a form somewhere and agreed to do these videos. Like, he
Right.
and I have spent a ton of time together and talked about marketing and the business itself and the struggles and the positives. There's so we've covered a lot, and I think it's really worth mentioning that. But
Family
also,
in Charlotte, right? So you're kind of
exactly.
family.
Exactly right. So, Eric, for everyone out there that's watching this again, whether they're a new potential referral partner for you or even a consumer that's just like, you know what, Eric sounds like a great guy. I love that area. I'd love to connect with him. What's the fastest way for them to get a hold of you?
The fastest way for somebody to get a hold of me is probably to go to my website, which is Eric Reeves. It's ERIC, just like it says on the screen. Eric Reeves dot Allen Tate. It's ALLEN Tate.com. And there I have all of my contact information. I am available by text, by email, by smoke signal, by however you want to get a hold of me. I'll probably answer. I may not answer right away, but I will. The smoke signals take a little bit longer. But I will eventually get back to you. But yeah, that website also has information about my other business, which is RYS Interior Consulting. The RYS stands for Refresher Space, so it's RYS Interior Consulting. And just like you said, people that might be thinking about moving, I can do a consultation. There's lots of different packages that I offer, and so the link for that business is also on my Allen Tate website. So for either business or both businesses, or just want to chat, I'm I'm here, and I'm in Western, from North Carolina. I've grown up around this area, with the school at Appalachian, so I am a Appalachian true and true. In fact, I've got my national champion license plate behind me back there. I had to make sure I got that in back then.
I love it. I love it. Well, I really appreciate your time again. I know you're super busy between the two things that you're doing there, and then, of course, your personal life and everything else that you got going on. So,
Yeah,
really means a lot to me. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, if there's ever anything you can do for my audience and vice versa, I really appreciate that. So,
for
thanks so much
sure.
for the connection again, and I hope you have a great weekend, man.
Thanks, Matt. You too. Dig out the
Absolutely.
snow.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, right.
See you later, my man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Bye bye.